breaking free from brand worship. Are we living our lives, or are brands living them for us? This is something that I consistently think about, because I feel like it's a big problem. Worshipping brands, people, places, things, worshipping to the point that it's not serving us truthfully. It's not a long term. It can't withstand the test of time. The cost of them is either too much financially or too much of a burden over time, I believe. But I think it's a problem because we all find ourselves pursuing brands or ideas, brands, they don't truly serve you. And I'll just focus on brands and logos that we put on our bodies, that we pay a premium for. I could be wrong on this, but I think during the 90s is when major brands really started to understand the idea of branding, to rocking the hell out of it. And when I was young, I became keenly aware of it because I grew up in the urban city in Oak Cliff, Dallas. So if you're from Dallas or you've been in Dallas, you know that Oak Cliff tends to have a negative reputation. Is probably because of my generation, there that I grew up in. But growing up, I also chased brands. So young, I was in my, let's say 15 to 20s, and I still was trying to figure out life. But one of the things that I did quickly observe that I didn't want to participate in because I couldn't afford it was these three brands, and they were deadly. They were actually deadly. Jordans, starter jackets, and Dayton wheels. If you had those on you in the hood, in our neighborhood, chances are you'd be a party. Actually, can't stand this guy. Don't you see that I'm recording a podcast here, brother? Come on. Respect. Hopefully we'll be able to get that here. Jordans, Dayton's, and starter jackets. 50 years, well, let's say 40 years later, these are they're popular brands. Well, actually, one of them still stands, Jordans, but you can find them anywhere. They built the brand on scarcity and obviously status. If you have them, you have perceived to have high status. You obviously have money because you could afford them. They were much more expensive, back then. I say, relatively speaking, it cost a lot to buy them, and they were scarce. So put that into the culture, and then the status of Jordan, the shoes, what it perceived to give you. Dayton's were wheels, like really customized wheels that we put on, frankly, shitty cars back in the day, but you threw them on there and all of a sudden the car just became more prestigious. It became a better car. Of course, then people would make their cars nicer as well. But it was not uncommon to hear of people getting jacked on the corner because there's people that were targeted them because those wheels were worth a lot. Not just in terms of money that they flipped, but also in terms of status. So they had to make a choice, I'm sure. The thieves did. Starter jackets. Starter jackets aren't even around anymore. As far as I know, Danes aren't around anymore. Starter jackets, when it became really obvious that they had lost their luster, I actually saw starter jackets at Walmart. Stopped worshiping brands. A lot of it was one, fear of getting jabbed. Nothing's worth my life. No piece of clothing's worth my life. No jewelry's worth my life. My children, family, but these things, and they weren't worth my money. So, on top of that, I couldn't afford it. So I didn't want to break myself. I didn't understand the sense of breaking myself to get these brands. Fast forward, I become a parent. I have 4 children at one point. I have 2 stepchildren and two children, so 4 children at one point that I'm helping raise, and I couldn't afford it. So of course I didn't put food either. I was trying to put food on the table. Got divorced. The girls got older. I was afraid that they were going to start asking for things, that they were going to demand brands, Jordans, because the popularity is growing. And now you look around, everybody's got Jordans because they are cheaper as well. There's not as much scarcity unless you got those really scarce brands, and you're a collector and you do that. But all in all, you can find Jordans anywhere. Nike's find them relatively affordable. Is Payless still around? That's all we used to do for the longest. But they didn't. And I guess that's the point. They didn't ask me for that. They never, ever did. And I think part of the reason for that is because I didn't idolize the brands. I didn't make them a big deal, which made it one less argument I had to have with my children, one less debate, one less, I think intrinsically they understood the value of money because I started teaching them early, but the brands like, oh, I have to have these Nikes or I have to have this shirt, Prada and Gucci. If you can afford them and you can afford them comfortably and good for you. And if you want them, good for you. I guess this message is more for us people that really can't go shit. And I think it starts with us as individuals because it comes a point when it becomes too much. It's not sustainable. That's the word I was looking for earlier. It's not sustainable to continue to worship these brands.
Today's episode of Becoming Better Ancestors is brought to you by me. That's right, TV the Marketer, founder of Rockstar.Marketing, where we help small businesses stop being invisible and start becoming unforgettable. That's what you are. If you run a local business and you're tired of throwing money away on ads that don't work, or worse, trusting your cousin's friend who does marketing on the side, it's time to call in the pros. We do digital advertising, video marketing, AI integrations, and strategy that actually gets results. No fluff, no excuses, just ROI. Get on over to www.rockstar.marketing. It's a real thing. And let's make some marketing magic happen.
I'll back up a little bit. When I was younger and I started developing my own line and understanding the brands, I remember thinking this, which is something that still runs to today, that is still true today, and it's still a principle of mine, which is I refuse to have anybody's logos on me unless they're paying you. I refuse to be somebody's unpaid billboard, or worse yet, I am their billboard. I just refuse to do that. It's just so silly. I feel that what you put on matters. So pause. Do I have nice things? Do I like nice brands? I would like to think that I do for the function. Like I have some Nikes. What's some Nikes? That probably was $50. Nowadays, that's not much. But the function of walking in the I'll have some brands. If you see me around at a dinner roll, I don't have any logos that you recognize on me. Partly because I'm cheap, partly because I refuse to rock the brand. Even if it means like, oh, well, that means you're not successful enough. Then if that's the judgment that is made, then that's one I'll live with. Success and the demonstration of success to me, I feel like it should be interpreted differently. And if someone doesn't judge me as successful enough because of that, then that's probably someone I want to work with. That's just a general. And these guys recording stupid. So back to not wanting to rep somebody else's brand, especially an unpaid sponsorship. In my 20s, I started my own brand. So I started really being known for that. I created this little logo on me. And what I would start doing is actually placing the logo on my stuff. I was airbrush artist. And I said, well, if I'm going to rock anybody's brand, it's going to be my brand, my logo. If I'm going to make it such a big deal, it's going to be mine. Rep myself. And that has remained true to this day. If I'm going to rock anyone, it's going to be myself. The only time I will say that it doesn't, that I will rep another brand or rep another group is if I truly believe in the group. Whether it be brands like, social media influencers of sorts, but individuals that are doing some good, a message, I will rock the shit out of a message, something that I truly believe in. But a brand, just for a brand like a Swoosh or a Prada or is it Gucci? I already ate that all. I'm going to rock that they don't represent me, my values. They are prestigious. So then, a lot of things to a lot of people, but to me, they're nothing. And then now, fast forward to the modern era where everything's about branding. I get it. I'm a marketer. I have a personal brand. I have a marketing brand. But there comes a point when you idolize a brand and it will betray you because, especially if they're human beings, and even a social system, human beings are human beings, and they inevitably will betray you, or their true character will come out, or find out that they're horrible people because they traumatized as children, if we're being honest. But some of these individuals that we idolize are actually just human beings, very flawed human beings. Most of them still appreciating their art to some extent, although Kanye was the one that I truly did drop. Like, I don't even want to listen to his music anymore. Even though I grew up to it, it was kind of the anthem for my youth, my 20s and 30s. It was this angst type of music and emotional music that I really liked, that motivated me. But he's an individual that I just decided to move on from, because he's obviously a hurt individual, and I'm not going to insult him like that. But I will say that he was doing horrible things, and he lost me personally. When he lost me completely, like, I don't even want to listen to his music. It is, I think he was really going after his wife, mother of his children online, and was putting them in danger. And I felt like that was a betrayal as a father. And I feel like he had his excuses and his justifications, but the truth is that he was putting them in harm's way. And as a father, I lost the last bit of respect I had for him. And I get it. He had got some mental issues, but I cannot subscribe to, obviously, his brand and his music, and I can't even listen to it. So I obviously will disengage from that kind of stuff, just because it becomes too much. I don't know about counseling per se, but I know about disengaging personally, because I no longer believe what they believe, and I can find other motivational emo music to get amped up to.
Hey there, it's me again. This episode, in case you forgot, of the Becoming Better Ancestors is sponsored by yours truly. I'm TV, the guy behind Rockstar.Marketing. We help purpose-driven businesses go from best kept secret to everybody's talking about them, using digital ads, compelling video, and marketing that actually works. If you got a message that matters but need help getting it heard, we should talk. Head over to www.rockstar.marketing and let's make you impossible to ignore.
Being careful with that, right? Being flexible to let go of brands that don't represent you anymore, even if at one point they did. I think that's something they stopped about last month. I tried to really get this across to the girls, because they're 20 and 22 now. Were born in 2002, 2004. Internet really started ramping up. They still didn't have the internet in their hands at all times. It was quickly approaching, and started realizing and seeing human beings, brands, big brands, real brands, right? Their true values, or their founders' values come out. And I really try to impress upon them to never idolize, essentially, false gods, right? Don't idolize them. Maybe appreciate them. Maybe honor them in some way. Thank them if they're giving some knowledge, if they're inspiring you, motivating a little bit, right? But don't idolize. Be ready, especially like eventually the humanity and then will come out. The cancel culture. We should just cancel anyone before 2005. Anyone born before 2005. Well, let's say. Anyone, let's just say before 2000, let's just cancel them. Let's just do everybody a favor. Why? You might ask. Well, because that was before we had documentation of all the crazy things we did. We've all did some crazy, obnoxious, hateful, mean-spirited things. There's nothing to document it. So it's just maybe a rule. We're going to cancel people. Let's just cancel all of us. And then once you cancel everyone, is anyone canceled? Shouldn't have to say people shouldn't be removed from the public sphere or idolization. But let's just cancel everyone, because we all got shit in our closets, man. And it's not documented. We've all done some dumb things, some sad things, some mean things, if we're being honest. So be careful with who you idolize, and be careful with the brands that you throw money at in the pursuit of status, perception of status. Like, kudos to those of you that can afford it and they can find real benefits from it. I don't. That's the lesson for the day. Be careful. Bye-bye.